We've been working with council for quite some time. They're hearing from constituents. They know that we've got a significant problem. And you heard council speak to both sides of the issue, that we absolutely need more services, and we need to get folks to a place where they're willing to accept those services. But we also have a responsibility to the environment. It is not okay when you have open spaces that are being damaged at the level that they're being damaged, and that's running into the river and creating all kinds of environmental issues. The goal is really to initially connect people to services. That's the ultimate goal. And if not, then it is to move them on into areas where it's into not so sensitive areas. We're seeing wetlands along the riverbank, but also places that are intended for other usage, parks, picnic shelters, places where kids are playing, that kind of thing. Especially if they're in a sensitive area, this ordinance allows us to ask them to move on immediately. If there is no shelter space available, there will not be arrest for the camping piece, but they will still be required to move on. And we did also last night remove any financial penalties, so there is no fine involved in this. It doesn't make sense to fine someone who doesn't have the means to pay the fine. And we also will not, if they ask for vacation upon completion of a sentence or a court-ordered program, we will not prevent that from happening. So it will be removed from their record. At this point, anybody that comes and asks for shelter, we find shelter. If you talk to our police officers, that is not the key issue. The issue is really people not being at a point where they're ready to accept services. We'll continue to work with our partners in providing shelter. Our human services funding goes predominantly to working with those partners on shelter, so it will continue to increase. But at this point, for this ordinance applies generally to people that are not at a place where they're willing to accept that shelter. The goal is that we always lead with compassion. It's always going to start with can we connect you with services? And my hope and anticipation is that we're not going to have to use this tool very often. But it does provide another tool for those folks that are not willing to leave that protected space, that environmentally sensitive space, or places with other public use.